Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And I will talk a little bit about collaboration too, because I think that is key, as my predecessor here on stage already mentioned. So, digital transformation. We are Royce, and who we are, I'm going to explain very quickly because we've only got 50 minutes, but that you know why it could be very hard to introduce startup approaches. So, first of all, branding is everything, but also our big company is changing. The spirit of innovation is that's what our future capability is. So we are a transformative business. We are an aerospace engine. So things which technology-wise take always lots of time. But now we're challenged with climate change, with logistics, with Corona crisis, etc. So this accelerates the journey to transformative technologies, as digitization will do it, but also electrification. So the spirit of innovation, the world's fastest all-electric vehicle now, and I'm lucky to at least lead the digital transformation towards our electrical aerospace business. So we've got 44,000 people. Startup approach and 44,000 people, so that doesn't sound like there is a good mix. But there's a lot of potential, and we need to ensure that all the people coming into the company are not leaving their digital native characteristics at the reception. So 44,000 people globally distributed. Almost 11 billion underlying revenue. And we've got defense, 31%. Power systems is based in Friedrichshafen, so just pointing out what we have in Germany. I'm based in south of Berlin, in Dahlewitz, where we do the business aviation, a significant sector of the civil aerospace sector, and in future also electrification. So that's me. I'm almost a dinosaur in the company. We already talked on the table because I'm 26 years, but in different roles, going from engineering to project management to looking after continuous improvement and quality and introducing these approaches. And now for the last 5-6 years, I'm concentrating on leading the digital transformation in our areas, both for business aviation and also now for our electrical endeavors. These are the groups, and civil power system defense, but there are new markets. The electrical market, very relevant for us here, going to electrical aerospace, SMR, small nuclear reactors, small modular reactors, less popular in Germany, but very popular in the UK, and certainly also a transformative approach to how to distribute and how to generate energy. So both energy and mobility are at the core of what we do within Rolls-Royce, and where significant activity is happening. So when you look at electrical, 400 employees right now, but it's going to double over the next few years, and in 10 years, we expect it's going to be larger potentially than the civil aerospace business. So there is a lot of transformation in, and we can only do this in implementing new approaches to how we deal with that. So what are our challenges, and where are the innovative aspects of it? We've got huge challenges ahead of us, and this is which leads us sometimes into crisis and sometimes into innovation and transformation. What do I mean? 2 years ago, a lot of people in the aerospace industries asked themselves, oh, should we leave it because nothing is going to happen? Everybody was expecting aerospace to pick up potentially speed 2024, 2025. Now we're reading the papers, oops, suddenly Lufthansa is getting the Airbus 380 back. So change is there. The business has become very volatile with the COVID crisis, but also with the current crisis. Digitization plays a big aspect in it because it's not only technology, and you said it before, it's people, it's culture. We are a very structured business because we need to put safety first, of course, but therefore we've got a product lifecycle process and mechanisms and reviews. So if you come with, well, let's innovate and fail fast, even you learn quick, that's an approach many people get goosebumps when they hear it. But in the digital technologies and the way we offer our businesses, that's something we need to introduce. So therefore, change is coming, change is here. Technology development is rapidly accelerating. We cannot wait another 10-15 years to get off carbon. Our net zero commitment for Rolls-Royce is in 2030. So that means we need to move very rapidly. We need new ways of thinking and acting to address the challenges. So I like the approach in matching digital colleagues with real colleagues. The real humans are very important in this one, but also we need digital technologies to accelerate transformation. It's not only a key ingredient, it's an enabler and solution, because the one thing I'm always trying to tell our engineers who are very excited, understandably, by the gas turbine, by the complex physics, by the complex technology is, well, the product is not our engine, is not our gas turbine. The product is a service offering, the digital service offering, the digital products we bring to the market. So of course the technology needs to be sound, of course the technology needs to be fit, but we need to ensure that the digital solution which we offer for service, for anything around the physical product, is being optimized to value, optimized to our revenues. So that is something which we need to address, and which is why a change in culture and change in thinking is necessary. And of course, an effort is required to enable the change to achieve the net zero commitment. So how does it come together in our business offering? First of all, we do aerospace engine, we provide mobility. Not thinking in technology, but thinking in digital solution means we need to look at mobility. Mobility is powered by energy, and luckily we've got our power systems unit who's providing microgrid, mini-grid solutions. So how can I ensure uninterrupted power supply? How can I forecast what energy is available from sustainable sources or non-sustainable sources? So bringing that together gives us a lot of opportunity for innovation, but also a lot of opportunity to think disruptive in a way. How can we, what does the market need, and how do we need to innovate ourselves? So this is what I mean. This is the challenge in terms of introducing startup approaches, comes when looking at the picture. How do I combine different business units? That is extremely hard in a big organization of 44,000 employees where everybody is in a silo working on their specific aspects and trying to become specialists in this. But the cross-functional thinking is what is important to bring across and what's important to implement. So Rolls-Royce is active in the space. It's also active on hydrogen solutions going forward, but there's a lot of synergy and a lot of cross-functional thinking and innovation required. The key question is, how do we provide sustainable mobility and power? How does energy, how does economy, how does mobility feed into each other so that mobility stays or remains affordable, but at the same time we're moving to a net zero environment where we reduce our carbon emission. So these are opportunities where digitization will help. So just quickly, what are the three things we are doing? From an electric point of view, I talked already. There is a step change in efficiency of the gas turbines and introducing also technology approaches. And there is sustainable aviation fuels. Was interesting. I was coming into Frankfurt Airport this morning, and there's already one of the kerosene hubs which say only sustainable aviation fuels. So we need to generate those, but also we need to find ways how to make it affordable, how to produce this, but also how to, what are clever ways to make it accessible to all the business and all the aviation across the world. Yeah, because there is one aspect of the production, the second one is the price, but the third one is how do I bring it also to smaller airports, to all airports across Europe or across the world. So the spirit of innovation, which hits a speed record, is just a sign and saying, well, we can disrupt the business, we can disrupt aviation, and when we think about what electric aerospace will bring us, these are new kind of mobility in a way that we need to introduce startup approach and thinking not in the current way of how do we travel, like me this morning from Berlin, big airport to Frankfurt airport, but where do urban air mobilities, eVTOLs, so electric vertical takeoff and landing vehicles, so air taxis, which passengers between 2 and 20 will open up a new space in the real world for mobility. We have one person at the Berlin Air Show mentioned that we've got around 150 ICE, so speed train station in Germany, but more than 300 airports. These all can be utilized to provide sustainable travel between various locations without having to go by taxi to the airport, taking big planes, and travel to other big airports. So there are new opportunities in terms of how this is going across, and we only can harvest those when we think about it in an innovative way. So what are startup approaches within Rolls-Royce, and what have we done? First of all, I'm part of the digital business unit, which is called R Square, Rolls-Royce Factory. So we looked across all the business units to say what are digital opportunities and what can we do in a digital way. So R Square Factory is a new startup generated of about 40, 45 people, headquarters in London, which looks at digital opportunities across Rolls-Royce in a very agile environment, in an innovative environment, and not in a closed environment. So first innovative approach is there are small teams, product teams who look at products, digital products, which can be applied across the business. You don't have to read all the, I know it's hard from back to read all those lines, but supply chain resilience, of course, is one of the key products, one of the key developments we've been looking at. AI mindset and culture. Culture, very important that people actually change their mindset to look at what can we do from a data point of view, how can I utilize the data in my business across different businesses. Service and maintenance, regulation, research and development. So these are aspects where the product teams look into this, what can be done across the business. Second aspect, key aspect is don't work in a silo, but open yourself up. So R Square Factory is now also looking outside and collaborating with other partners in the digital economy, but also in the physical economy, to say where can we share the approach, where can we work together to develop maybe a new product, maybe to a certain point where each of the partners say, well, I take my IP here at this point and now do the rest by myself, or even a totally collaborative approach. So again, a startup approach means, okay, there is a safe environment where partners, research partners, industry partners are coming together to generate ideas. So R Square Factory, a new startup within a large corporation, I think, which is novel, with a truly agile development, truly agile environment, and out of the, what I would say, large corporate, out of the box thinking. One of the aspects and one of the examples to show is when the COVID crisis hit us in 2020, what R Square Factory did immediately is saying, well, there's probably less appetite in the company right now to do a lot of digital projects. There's less budget available, but there's a crisis. So what can we do? So we founded the Emergent Alliance and partnered with IBM, Microsoft, even students who had less work to do and others to generate the Emergent Alliance to look at aspects of the COVID crisis. So to generate kind of these indices like the Health and Regional Risk Index to say what are predicted risk of COVID infection in certain areas, what are clusters of COVID detection, what are what are developments across the globe with regard to the virus, but also with secondary things like mobility, etc. So we provided a lot of and did a lot of analytics, which eventually helped primarily the UK government, but also other institutions to come to conclusions, to come to assessments what need to be done in that crisis. So that's been a model. After 1 year, again, we said now the work of the Emergent Alliance done. So it's not any more active, but it's an approach which helped us to generate collaborations with other partners, with industry partners. There is now, for example, even here in Germany, one of the approach of economic shock scenarios being looked at together with the university in Cottbus to look how a shock of getting out of the coal or potentially being left without oil and gas, what aspects that's going to bring to the economy and what needs to be considered. So there's a lot of things we can learn from there if we just take this thinking forward. What else are we doing? We offer so-called residencies. I talked about collaborating with other companies, with other partners. So like a startup, we invite other partners to work with us together in a residency approach. That means there are 3 phases: a discovery, a development, and implementation phase. But of course, you always have to start with the discovery of your issue, but you don't have to go through all the three. But that just means in any aspect we are flexible enough to work with different partners, to invite them to the table and come to really solve the issues which are on the table on mobility, on energy, but anything beyond there. So this is an aspect where we've done the first residencies already through an 8 weeks program on discovery. We are now getting into the development program. We use this also internally to invite business units within Rolls-Royce, for example, power systems from an energy perspective, electrical from the aerospace perspective, to ensure, okay, we can adopt the startup approach and help the business to come to the best conclusions. What do we need to tackle? What are the key challenges where we need to offer solutions for? And this is just when, again, thinking from the aerospace point of view, there is a business model opportunity for energy as a service. Energy as a service is the offering we'll need to provide. Energy as a service, very important in those days where crude oil and others become rare. Subscription energy service, no upfront investments by customers, but uninterrupted power supply. That's what the customers want. We can link this with hydrogen consumption, with hydrogen production, renewable energy integration. Eventually, what's shown there is a vertiport or a small airport of the future, where of course you want to be charging your batteries with sustainable energy. So those solutions will need to come together, and the connection is through digitization. So digital beings and through human beings. And it's about much more than the aircraft, because everywhere digitization will play a role. Regulations is something which is always very strong in Europe, less strong maybe in other areas, but it will need to change. Where do those electric planes fly? Probably not at a height where currently traditional aircraft are flying. So there are different airspaces, different regulations. We need in Germany, but in Europe, safe havens where we can try this out, like real labo, real laboratories where we can test things out, how to get with autonomous driving, autonomous flying from A to B. Other areas in the world are already going there. We've got NEOM, the city of the future, being established in the Middle East, where some of this is being tried out, but there is a lot of opportunities to think disruptively, to think in a different way, to ensure that digitization from a thinking, from a culture perspective, but also from technology aspect, is going to shape what we're going to do. And there are a lot of examples of what we'll need to tackle, what we are able to tackle as a company, so that we can implement the digital approaches in a different way, even in a large tanker corporation like Rolls-Royce. And with this, I'd like to finish and open up the floor for questions, or we discuss this further on at the round table later. Thank you very much.